All right. How many people do we have if I have to address like this or anything? Do we know how many people are online?
Online, more than 50 already.
Okay, cool. Hello everyone. I am doing a little workshop on building Gen AI apps, especially around how to use agentic frameworks, if at all if that is a good use case. And yeah, just give a little overview and then kind of dive into some code, show some examples, and hopefully that helps someone out during the hackathon. The goal is to make it easy so you guys can quickly jump in, build these AI agents, and kind of cruise through the hackathon. So I will jump into a quick presentation that I have. So I'll share my screen. Permissions are to quit and log in again. Sorry about that. I just joined again. Okay, so you can accept it. Sorry, I just joined again. If you can accept it, yeah, sure. Thank you. Awesome. Cool. All right. We're going to see my screen.
Yeah, still loading, but it's.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes.
Are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
No, I can. Several times. If you mute yourself, it's also the conference audio.
Okay. How about now? Perfect. Amazing. Cool. So diving in. So building Gen AI apps with agentic frameworks. Does it go to the next slide? So I will see what I can do. Okay. All right. I am from Mainframe, and that's my handle at the bottom. And then you can reach out to us later if you have any questions, building stuff, and also interested in joining us. With Mainframe, I think our goal is to redefine human-computer interactions with an idea of a future operating system where AI is like a default and agents are kind of like the new apps. And then we love open source. And last month, we actually released a open source experimental app that you can chat with, kind of like ChatGPT, but then it actually uses Llama under the hood, completely private on device, so it doesn't leave your phone. So it's on test flight on fullmoon.app. So if you're interested, join, try it out. If you have feedbacks, let us know. So topic of agents, right? What are agents? That's kind of like the hot word that you hear right now, especially on Twitter and also in SF. The definition of an agent is just an autonomous system that can perform things on your behalf, right? Without a human interaction, you can just do things. It can reason and kind of do stuff. That's a fancy way of saying a smart bot. But the concept of GenAI apps, what are GenAI apps, right? You pass in an input and then there's some magic happens and then you get an output. That's kind of what we see a lot of apps doing right now, where you pass in some text or images or some prompts, and then you specify what you want to do, and then some kind of magic happens and then you get an output. So traditionally, you could do something like this through like data pipelines, which is by far, I think, a solid way to like build apps. Let's say in the case of a general pipeline, right, where it's like linear and predictable. So that's an input, and then it goes through a certain flow, probably go through a process, and then that output you could get to another process, and then you could pass it on to another process, kind of chain them, and then comes back and you get an output. If you know exactly what kind of process you're doing, what kind of stuff you want to do, pipelines are like robust and you can kind of do them. So where does agentic frameworks come into the play? So when you have something that's a little more complex, something that's non-linear, something that's a little more dynamic, where you need like a reasoning engine to kind of decide which flow kind of take and which tasks to perform. That's where I think agentic frameworks come in handy, especially to like kind of help you kind of give these inputs, and you can imagine that's like a coordinator or the framework or the LLM, which is like the brain. It decides if it should give to an agent one or an agent two or another agent, and these agents could communicate with each other as well, right? So you can pass in data, probably have like certain loops, you go back to a different agent, with the goal being it's capable of achieving what you asked for. So that's where agentic frameworks come into play. So when you're building something, if you do know exactly what you're trying to do, like a traditional approach, you could just save time by just doing general pipelines. But if you think that's going to be a little more complex situations where you need the LLM to kind of do those things, agentic frameworks are great. There are a lot of agentic frameworks right now. There's Crew, there's LangGraph, OpenAI recently came up with Swarm. These are all really good tools. You could use them to kind of build these agents. And I'm just going to give an example of one such agentic framework called TaskFlow. Shout out to Philip, who's the author of that, and he also works with us at Mainframe. So we kind of use TaskFlow to build a bunch of our internal agents, kind of build some of these smart systems internally. So TaskFlow is a lightweight Python framework that kind of makes it really easy to define an agent. And the core principle here is like you define a task and then you just have these agents kind of doing those tasks for you. And it also makes it easy if you want multi-agent systems where these agents are communicating with each other. So definitely give it a try. It's on GitHub, it's open source as well. So now let's build something. I will now shift to cursor, default choice of IDE now. In terms of time, so I'll just quickly walk through how simple it is, right? So have a Python environment, you can install a pip install TaskFlow AI to just install the package, and that's all you need. And walking through the code, you can import some of these things that are part of TaskFlow AI. So you have the agent, you have tasks, and then you have a bunch of tools. Tools are just a fancy way of saying these are functions that the agents can call on your behalf to kind of achieve the result that you want. So these Amadeus tools for like flights, Wikipedia tools, web tools, Llama models. If you want to use your own private LLM, you could do that. So we provide a bunch of these tools. So what we're trying to build in this example is like a simple travel agent. Let's say you give it a location from destination and where you're flying from. Probably provides some interests or what you're looking for, the dates in which you want to travel, and then you just kick off the process, and then you go figure out things that you like. Based on things you like, you create like a plan based on take the weather into input, and also kind of find flights for you and kind of just do these things. So I'm defining something. So for example, I have an agent here called the web research agent. So it's very simple. You create an agent, you have a role, give it a goal, some attributes, like kind of like how you have like an intern or like a person working with you, right? So let's say the web research agent, the goal is to kind of search the web for travel information. I'm passing in some tools, the search for search, which is kind of like a Google search API. And then I'm also giving it some Wikipedia tools. So it can search certain articles and also images based on your query and interest and kind of compile those. And then I'm creating another agent called travel agent, which is basically to um, assist the user in planning their trip. And it uses a flight search and also the weather data. So I'm passing in these two. You could use a bunch more other things. So let's say you are allergic to some kind of food or something. You can have another food that's kind of filter restaurants. Yeah. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. So we have a couple tools here. Pretty straightforward. So the goal is these two agents will kind of work together to kind of achieve something, right? And then tasks are basically I create them just as functions. They wrap around functions, and I have specific tasks. First task is to research the destination. So I use the web search agent over here, and I kind of provide a context here, and then instructions, which is basically I just say like use your tools to find relevant information about the destination. Use the web search tool to research about the destination, write a comprehensive report. Use the Wikipedia tools to search the Wikipedia page as well as images. And then your final answer, you should write a comprehensive report about the destination. So this is kind of very prompt the agent and the tools how to use it. And so that's one tool. And then we have another tool, it's research events. So same thing, I have a similar task. Use all these web tools to do that. And then I have a search flights task created, which will basically look for the flights, given the date range, collect a bunch of options, and kind of also give you a report. And then the final task that I have is make the travel report, right? So given the destination report, which just comes from, like a bunch of things that we're already doing here, it takes the events report, it takes the flight report, and then writes a plan for you basically to do that. So in this main function, I just have some things that I'm asking the user: where are you traveling from, where are you traveling to, the dates, and some any interest if you have something, right? And then I'm basically calling all these tasks to complete. It'll just figure out which agent to use it, how to use it, and then I'm kind of I just commented out these print statements because I have set verbosity to true, which means all the prompt calls will be visible. So I can show you right now if you run it. And then finally, I just print the report, right? So 80 lines of code with a lot of spaces and lines, but this is all you need. Kind of have like a travel agent in your pocket kind of thing. So let's run this. So right some here. So I'm gonna kickstart. Then it's gonna ask, where are you traveling from? So San Francisco, California. Where are you traveling to? Any recommendations? We try it out. Cuba. Any specific place in Cuba? Just Cuba. All right. Dates. Let's do January 10th till Jan 15, 2025. Any particular interest in Cuba? You have any recommendations? Let's just say cigars, shopping, maybe. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. So it's making the first call. So it's kind of telling you, like, I am, yeah, saying you're a research agent, do all these things, right? So I'm getting a logs of all the stuff that's happening. Yeah. Yep. So it's fetching some tourism stuff. So it's already fetching. Yeah, some images of like some stuff from Wikipedia. It's also figuring out Cuba cigar factories for shopping. Finding a bunch of other things. And then yeah, so it's doing its thing, right? Like it's you have this agent kind of doing this web search. And then there's now it's doing like yeah, looking for events now. So it's essentially kind of doing that stuff too. What else do you have? So because I just have the logs on, I'm just seeing everything. But essentially, when it completes all the stuff that's going on, it'll take in the weather. Now it's, I mean, you just saw that it took the weather into consideration. And this is so many logs where you, yeah. And then now it's like, yeah, kind of figuring out the dates for the forecasts. And then it's compiling the weather information for you right now. And then let's see what else. Now it's starting to do the flights now. San Francisco to Havana, best option flights, alternate options. And then now it's figuring that out. So the flight reports being generated. Some shopping and events are here already. Let's see. All right. So it's finally going to create the report, hopefully soon. The weather, the travel, the events, everything is now compiled. I think so. Yeah, this is the final report. Request completed. Comprehensive travel plan we have right now. What does it say? January 10 to 15, summary, like, and then it gives you flight arrangements. It gives you an itinerary, outbound, what aircraft, return, other options for you if you want. That's the weather conditions too, because yeah, you gave those dates, it went search all that stuff. So you can use that information, shopping districts and experiences, because I gave cigars as like an interest. So you have all this done, page recommended schedule. So essentially kind of plan this entire thing in like a minute or so. So you could imagine how something like this could be really useful if you want to do something that usually takes a lot of time. So I think earlier I tested around like I want to go to Japan. My interest was like to use to go to 7-Eleven and get the egg sandwich. And it kind of told me what other things you could try. So yeah, since a couple agents want to do research, and another agent to actually do like the flight search and everything, and combined together, they just gave me this report. So yeah, that's kind of like a simple way to use agentic frameworks, and Pascal is one example. You could use a bunch of other tools to do that. And yeah, the main thing here is the LLM acts as a brain, deciding based on information from one agent to like figure out how to like pipe that to another agent, and eventually kind of accomplishing the task that you set out to do, which is give me a plan. This is all I have. Yeah, that concludes the quick demo that I had. But if you are going to be around working on any of these agents or have questions around them, I'm more than happy to kind of answer it. help out yourself. Um, yeah, thank you. That's the building AI apps with agentic frameworks. Yep. Yeah, questions. Yeah.
Could you tell us how Google search happens? Like technically.
Like in the context of the agentic framework. So there are some tools like Serper and a few others that kind of do the Google search for you in the backend. So I just kind of essentially, if you see, I have an environmental file with some of the not sharing, but essentially I'm just using those APIs as tools, so it'll go perform that operation for you. You could either use that, or you could even use browser agent tools, something that will open the browser, like browser stack, or browser based. We kind of made an announcement that you use browser agents. So you can imagine kind of like a headless browser opening up, doing something, and actually looking stuff for you. So these are just tools. So Google Search here is like a Server is one of those tools that comes with that. Yep.
When you're making like an agentic tool, you're always making like a couple of agents, not just like one or two.
Yeah.
How do you know which agents to prioritize when you're making your tools and which ones need to be agents versus can be done just manually?
Yeah. Let's say, yeah, I mean, so the main use when the benefit of using agents is when you have a lot more agents working together, right? So the way this could be, or I would think about is you have this main agent, which is kind of like taking the task, and the main goal is to create a report, right? I provided enough context and information to it, be like, hey, these are all the tools that you have, use them, and each of those tools or sub agents will have their own tools. So what the LLM can do is kind of help you with the reasoning thought. Like, okay, the user is asking for something like searching the weather. In that case, use an agent which is capable of doing the weather search. So that's when you have some of these agents with tools saying, hey, if the user asks for weather, ask me first, and I can kind of do that. So I guess to answer your question, the LLM does a pretty good job in terms of deciding which agent to call, as long as you have those tasks and tools well defined within them. Of course, if there are competing tools, sometimes could happen when I have different agents. You could have the agent kind of also make a decision on like, is this comprehensive enough? If not, ask the other tool also. So you could kind of give those rules into it. So definitely something you have to play around with to see how the output comes out. But my experience, it does a pretty good job deciding that stuff. Sometimes it does these things, and you can even have a human in the loop kind of thing where it's like, hey, it looks like a cyclone's gonna come during that week, and you actually want to travel, and then the user can be like, oh, maybe this change the dates, and then you can go figure something out. Yeah, so you could do a lot more fun stuff with that. Any other questions? Is anyone using agents or agentic frameworks for the hackathon? Yeah?
Not for this hackathon, but for
Yeah.
other projects.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we will always love to hear what you guys are doing. So that's awesome. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. I think that concludes building apps, and happy hacking.
Thank you.
videos.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. All right, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Have you guys had a chance to get something to eat? Lunch is important, right? Yeah. So you can take a picture of this. What I'm going to talk about is a toolkit to basically help you wrangle your data. So if you're doing data preparation for your LLM applications, hopefully this toolkit I'm about to show you can help you out. So the way I like to run this is very quickly. So right, if you are basically looking at, sorry, very quickly, my name is Suji Maniam. I work as a digital engineer. I'm here representing AI Alliance. So the toolkit I'm going to present today is Data Prep Kit. So maybe you can take a screenshot. If you have questions, you want to send me an email. Here's my email right here. So you can take a picture of this. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions afterwards. So one thing I want to quickly talk about is a toolkit for Data Prep Kit. I'm going to show you a quick couple of slides, but I think I'm going to walk you through a demo. Right? And you can run this along with me if you like. Right. And this is all being recorded, so you will have access to all of this. So imagine you are writing an application, LLM app, or even any data-intensive application. You're going to have to deal with data. So obviously, we cannot take the raw data and feed it to our models. We need to clean it up, do a lot of prep, and hopefully, this is where this toolkit can help. Right? So, so it's called Data Prep Kit. Funny enough, it's an open source toolkit in Python. It's been used within IBM for a while, so IBM is now open source again. It's under Apache 2 license. It's on GitHub. So the way I look at this, it's like a little Swiss Army knife. You know, it has a little bit of everything. Right? All the tools you require. So for example, let's say you have some PDFs. You want to extract some text. This one has it, right? You need to perform some do some markups, do some cleanup. This one can do it. Delooping documentation. Right? So all these little things, we end up doing when preparing data for our LLMs. So, and then here's a little bit more refined graphics. So all the capabilities you can do. So you can see things like so the toolkit can handle both documents and code. So whether you are, let's say you're trying to train your LLM, let's say you do some RAG process using documents, this tool can help. Or let's say you're looking to do some fine tuning using some code, you can handle code as well. So for example, if you're looking at code, like you can identify, say, program languages. And also it can do things like malware detection. So for example, if your code has some sort of virus, right, you can actually flag it. So all these things that you think about, doing data cleanup before you even train the model, hopefully the tool can help you. Yeah. So this is actually designed, like I mentioned, is actually used internally in IBM to train IBM's Granite models. So they are open source models IBM released. So as you can imagine, right, they train them on terabytes of it. So this tool is actually designed to run on scale. So the way it kind of designed is you can start on your laptop, right? And for small amount of data, that's fine. And when you need to scale, what happens is you can actually use either Ray or Spark. It runs on top of Ray or Spark to scale. I'm kind of curious, has anybody played around with Ray or Spark here? Yeah. So basically what these are is, like if you look at Ray, so Ray takes your Python code, just plain Python code, and runs it on a cluster. Pretty nice, right? Spark, same idea. It takes your Python code and then distributes them and runs on the cluster. So you can imagine when you're doing a large-scale data cleanup or data processing, probably our laptop's not going to cut it. So that's where it comes in. So the toolkit is designed to start here and then scale very quickly. So what I thought I would do, I will do a couple of, just just walk you through so you can see the features for yourself. And I'm going to share this link here with you guys. If you don't mind, maybe take a picture of this, or you can come to the URL. What I have is I have a demo notebook that you can run along with me. It runs on Colab, so you don't need to set up your laptop or anything. But there's no need to set up any Python environments. It's a single-click run on Colab, right? So if you need a second, go ahead and take a picture, or you can type in the bit.ly URL too. Excuse me. It's a bit.ly DPK workshop too, right? So pretty easy to remember. So leave it here for a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually walk you through step by step what the toolkit can do. Any questions so far, just before we dive into the code? Does anyone know use any other frameworks for data cleanup and data wrangling? I'm sure there's a lot of toolkits. I'm curious what you guys use. Yeah. Yeah. So please, I'm talking to a couple of people, and they want to know a little bit more details about A/B comparison. I'm happy to talk to you guys afterwards. So please come in. All right. All right. So let's do this. So from this URL, I'm going to walk you through this. So if you click on this link, it will basically take you to this page. All right. So here, what I have is I have step-by-step instruction how you can go about